everybody, so it's time for another fruit that was kindly sent to me by MiamiFruit.org, who I am an affiliate of right now. So if you go to the link in the description below, you can buy this fruit yourself, and if you use the promo code you can get 5% off. But guys, what I have here today is something that I am really excited about. I've talked about this before. I had this when I was in Thailand, and I tried it fresh. Gac fruit is disappointing if you're going for just pure fresh fruit. This is something that you cook with. And what this is most commonly cooked in is sticky rice. In Vietnam especially, it is popular, where it's called, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Xoi Gac. Am I saying that right? I know I'm not. How do you pronounce it? Let me know in the comments. I know you will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to make this dish. And I'm going to take this fruit, I'm going to prepare it, I'm going to prepare the rice, and we're going to see what this dish tastes like. So I'm feeling this is going to take a while, hence the coffee. So first let's cut this guy open. And I haven't had this in a while. This is bringing back some very old memories for me. Yeah, look at that. Check that out. It is just like blood red little nuggets. It smells kind of interesting. I don't really recall what it smelled like last time I had it, like 3 years ago or however long that was. But this kind of smells a little pumpkin-y, a little bit like a squash or something. First we gotta like degunk this thing. So I'm gonna pull out these seeds and one by one separate out the gunk. A little creamy, a little greasy tasting maybe. I think it might have some fat content in there, which is kind of interesting. A little bit like heavy cream, but mostly like nothing. I'm going to come back because this is going to take me a minute. It is a sloppy mess. Oh god, how am I gonna turn off my camera with these goopy hands? I've got a clean pinky. It took quite a while to get that all out, but it wasn't too hard. And yeah, it looks pretty disgusting. Looks like a gigantic blood clot. So first things first, I'm going to take some oil and put it in this pan. Just like maybe like a tablespoon or two. And let this heat up on a medium heat. So I took maybe like a tablespoon or two of the mixture and set it aside because I'm going to use this to try to make some juice. But the rest of it, that is going in the pot. In goes 2 tablespoons of sugar and about a ½ teaspoon of salt. Let this cook a bit. You see, it's not really breaking down how I would hope it would. So I think I may use an immersion blender on this if this does not change soon. I mushed it up a little bit and now it looks more like a paste, so that is good. And right now this is boiling hot. If I were to put my hand in here, I would deep fry my hand. Not going to do that. I'm going to let this cool down for a bit, but while that's happening, I'm going to move on to the rice. This takes a long time to deal with, so let's get cracking on that. This is actually something that you want to do probably like far in advance. This is something that you have to do overnight, so it's going to take a minute. It should be noted that this is not just any rice, this is glutinous rice, which actually looks quite a bit different than your standard rice. Check that out. It's very, very like white and smooth looking. I've had things with glutinous rice in it before, but I've never made anything out of it myself, so this is kind of an interesting thing to see. This rice has been washed 2 times, and I just covered it up with water. You can see that there, and this sits out on the counter. It's gonna be okay overnight. So this is gonna stay right here. And I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow. While that's waiting though, let's make some juice. I'm gonna take my gunk, my Gac gunk, and I'm going to put that in there. Okay, so this is now going to get mixed with water. How much water? I don't know. How about this much?
What are you doing on the cupboard? Hey, you shouldn't be up there.
My cat is being antisocial. She's on top of the cupboard that's on top of the fridge. Okay, back to the juice. I'm going to turn on the heat and let this boil. Because some of the seed coat is a little bit, there's like a little membrane around it, maybe because it's a little bit young. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn off the heat, let that cool down for just like a second, and I'm going to blend it. Well, it is like the consistency of tomato soup. Maybe a little bit thicker than that. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally like my tomato soup a little thinner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another one of these cups of water and put that in there and bring it back to a boil. While this is cooling, let's see how cool the pot of sludge is doing. Okay, I didn't deep fry my finger. This is ready. Alright. Action-packed video. Now something very action-packed. Trying to get this into this jar. Gac fruit oil, by the way, is something I've been seeing around online as like a health product. People use it for like a natural like beauty thing. I think you can put it like in your hair or something. I don't really know, but that's something to look into, because maybe like after I'm done using this paste, I'm going to want to take this oil and just like rub it all over my body. I've got maybe like, I don't know, 4 tablespoons of it in here. I'm going to put this in the fridge and let it chill out until I'm ready to make my rice. Wow. It's very different than when you eat it raw. That tastes like tomatoes, but missing like a very major component of tomatoes. You know, if you like cook a tomato, it will develop kind of like a little bit of more of a vegetable kind of flavor. If you like make a sauce, it tastes different than if you have just like tomato juice. This tastes more like the sauce, like that savory component. I mean, it makes sense because this is bright red for a reason. It is full of lycopene. So Gac fruit has like massive amounts of lycopene. It's got a lot more than tomatoes. Tomatoes have a little bit. Gac fruit has a lot more. This tastes like lycopene. I imagine that that's what that is. I know some people don't like tomatoes. What's wrong with you? Well, if you don't like tomatoes, this may be a way to get into tomatoes or get your lycopene in a way that does not involve tomatoes. Because, you know, I think you need some lycopene in your diet. And if you don't get it from tomatoes, I don't know where you're getting it, because that's like the main source that where people get lycopene is from tomatoes. So if you need lycopene and you don't like tomatoes, this would be a way to do it. So I'm going to go to bed, and then when I wake up, we're going to continue this exploration. Good night. Alright, it's the next morning, so let's do this.
Somebody is not doing a very good job at hiding. I can see you.
Why are you up there? Huh? There's the rice. As you can see, it has fluffed up a little bit. It's absorbed quite a bit of that water. and this is going to actually sit in here for an hour, just so I can get the majority of the water out of here. While that's happening, let's try some of this gac juice. I put it in the fridge overnight, so it should be nice and refreshingly chilled. What that tastes like is like if you took a tomato and you cut it up to make a salad, and you know like that little circle at the top where it connects to the stem? You know how you cut that out and like very often you'll just like throw that away because it doesn't really taste like much? Well, you just collected those. All of those, like hundreds of them. And you blended those with water. It's like this rough, bland, tomato-like flavor. I think even that would be giving it too much credit. There's no flavor in there, hardly at all, but it does have like a little bit like a vegetable flavor. Yeah, not a big fan of that, but let's see what happens when I add some sugar and lemon juice to it. Yeah, that's fine. It tastes like lemonade, but like a little bit savory, a little bit hearty. It's got like a little bit of a tomato-like flavor to it, but very remote. If you want to get your beta carotene, if you want to get your lycopene and whatever else is in gac fruit, good thing to utilize with other things. Okay, so it has drained, and I put my contacts in. And next thing that I need to do is take this paste, the gac paste, and put it into the rice. Mixed. So this is actually going to sit now for 30 minutes for some reason. I'm using a recipe, by the way, that is from Vietvegan. So it's all Vietnamese recipes, but with a vegan twist. This is always a vegan dish, though, I believe. I don't think anyone puts like milk in it or anything. Sometimes people put coconut milk in it. And I chose this recipe because it does not call for coconut milk, because I thought that coconut milk would interfere with the gac fruit taste. It's about 5 minutes away before that will be ready. So in the meantime, I'm going to turn on a steamer, and because these have quite large holes in it, I'm going to have to line this. Most recipes call for you to line it with banana leaves. You know what? I have a lot of bananas right now. Like, a lot. Look at all these bananas. Some bananas here, bananas here, bananas here. Inside this bag, there's more bananas. Over here, there's a cat, and more bananas here. I have a lot of bananas in my place. I do not have banana leaves, though. So what I'm going to do is use wax paper. There is a layer of wax paper. I actually poke some holes in there, too. That way the steam can get through. I'm just kind of like even that out a little bit. Lid goes on, and the temperature goes down to medium. Yeah. Alright. Yeah. It's cooking. What I need to do now is to mix it up a little bit, bring the bottom layer to the top. That way it can cook all the way through. The wax paper, yeah, that's not a good idea. The problem with it is that it tears very easily. I was able to do this just fine without getting little bits of wax paper and everything, but it took a little bit more effort than I would have liked. I think parchment paper would be better, or a banana leaf, but you know what? They didn't have that at the dollar store. The lid goes back on, so I'm going to take off that lid. And I'm going to add a couple of things. I have 2 tablespoons of sugar here. So I'm going to sprinkle that on the top. Generous pinch of salt. And a touch of oil, about a tablespoon. Looks good. Not done yet. Finally, it is done. Looks pretty good. Now this right now is absolutely molten. So I'm going to let this cool for a bit. If you have one of those steamer things where you can like grab it and pull it out, that would be a good thing to use right now. I'm going to turn off the camera and very awkwardly try to get this out somehow. Yeah. Well, everyone, the rice is done, and I shoved it into this little rice bowl here, at least some of it into this rice bowl here. Now, typically how people eat this during celebrations in Vietnam is with ham, a special Vietnamese ham. Now, if you are familiar with my series, I am a vegetarian, so I'm not going to eat ham. However, I do have, shocker, whatever this is. This is some sort of soy meat substitute thing. Basically ham. It's the same thing. There we go. There. Nice, perfect little mound. People usually will put this into a mold of some kind, like heart-shaped, or like a flower, or a dinosaur. You can do all sorts of fun things, but I don't have a mold, so I just use something boring like a bowl. I like it. It's good. Definitely different than just straight up sticky rice or coconut rice. Gac is not a very flavorful thing to eat, but when you put it in things like this, when you cook with it, it does impart something to it. It makes it like a little bit more, I want to say like hearty. The gac also imparts a little bit of a creamy-like flavor to it. I know I mentioned that in the past, that it kind of has like a little bit of a heavy cream kind of taste to it. So when you mix it into something, it does add some richness to it. The sugar, I think, is necessary for this. If you were to take that sugar out and just put like salt in it, I think it would be quite bland. I think that sugar works well with the fruit. Try a little piece of this soy ham. Works really well. I think gac is useful. Eating it straight out is not something that you'd want to do, but it is something that would be useful for cooking. And it would be useful for trying to add like a little extra health into your diet. Gac fruit, as I've mentioned, has a lot of stuff in it, a lot of good stuff, a lot of lycopene and beta-carotene and what have you. So if you're trying to get that into your diet, then gac fruit would be a way to do that. It's like chock full of it. And it's fairly innocuous, or if you like take that and blend it into something, it does help the flavor of things, but it doesn't overpower it. It just kind of adds like a little subtlety to it. Yeah, so I think that's pretty interesting. I think that's all I have to say though. So once again, I'd like to shout out to miamifruit.org for sending this to me. Thank you so much for that. If you want to try gac fruit and either on its own, in a juice, make something out of it, you can get it over on Miami Fruit's website. Just use the link in the description below. Hope you enjoyed watching this video, guys, and I will see you next time. Well, I really hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you did, you may want to check out the video that is below me right now. That should be good too. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, it is a huge help to my channel, so please do consider subscribing or clicking that bell. That does something too. Not sure what it is. Also, check out the description below. There's all sorts of other things I have going on. I don't even know anymore. But guys, I will see you next time. Take care.